A Russian drone just crossed a line, and I'm not just talking about a line on a map. I'm talking about a red line for the most powerful military alliance on the planet. So, what exactly happened, what does it all mean, and why should you care? Let's get into it.
So here's the deal, the news that had everyone holding their breath. A Russian drone, while carrying out attacks in Ukraine, went off course and flew right into the airspace of Poland, a really important NATO member. I mean, airspace was shut down, jets were scrambled, it was a full-blown crisis in a matter of moments.
And right away you have to ask the big question, right? Was this just a stray drone, an accident in the fog of war, a whoops moment? Or was it something more, a deliberate test, a poke to see just how NATO would react? The answer to that question is a huge deal, and it's all about location, location, location. Because this didn't happen just anywhere. This happened over Poland, which is without a doubt the most strategic, most critical front line for the entire NATO alliance right now.
Okay, let's zoom in on the map for a second so you can see why Poland is so vital. First, it shares a massive border with Ukraine, so it's literally touching the conflict zone. Second, it also borders Belarus, which is, Russia's closest military partner. And third, just look at it. Poland is the gateway to the rest of Europe. If things were to go south in Poland, the next stop is Germany, the economic engine of the continent. Poland is NATO's firewall.
And that's why this whole incident is so dangerous. It immediately brings up the possibility of Article 5. You've probably heard of it. It's the absolute cornerstone of NATO. It's the solemn promise that an attack on one member is considered an attack on all of them. It's the tripwire for a massive military response. It's the one thing everybody is desperately trying to avoid.
But, take a breath, Article 5 was not triggered. Instead, Poland did something else. They used a different, less famous, but incredibly important tool that's designed for exactly these kinds of tense situations. It's called Article 4. You can think of it as the alliance's de-escalation button.
So what the heck is Article 4? Well, it's basically the everybody get in this room and talk now clause. It doesn't automatically trigger a military fight. Instead, it lets any member country that feels its security is threatened get the entire alliance to the table for urgent meetings. It's all about managing a crisis before it can explode into a catastrophe.
The difference between the two is just night and day. Article 4 is for a threat. The action is consultation. The goal is to calm things down. Article 5, on the other hand, is for an actual armed attack. The action is military, and the outcome is all-out collective defense. Put it this way, one is a call to talk, the other is a call to arm.
And history tells a really important story here. Article 4 has been used 8 times. It's proven to be a vital tool for handling these dicey moments. But Article 5? It has only been used once. One single time in NATO's entire history, and that was by the United States after 9/11. That tells you just how incredibly high the bar is for triggering a war.
Now, this drone incident and the use of Article 4, well, it didn't just happen in a vacuum. It's more like a flashing warning light on the dashboard. It's a symptom of a much larger and, frankly, more dangerous reality. NATO believes it has to get ready for a long, tough confrontation. And the reason for all this preparation? It comes down to a pretty stark assessment from NATO leaders. They're looking at Russia, and they're saying it's not a normal economy anymore. It's a war economy. Its entire industrial base is being reoriented for just one purpose: to keep a conflict going for a very, very long time.
And the evidence is pretty hard to ignore. Russia's defense budget is through the roof, the highest it's been in decades. Their state-run factories are churning out tanks and ammo 24/7, in some cases even outproducing Western countries. And you hear it from their own officials. They say they're prepared to fight for many more years. This isn't just a short-term thing, it's a fundamental shift.
So, what was the actual result of those Article 4 talks? A real, tangible military response. NATO is now actively beefing up its eastern front. Allies like the UK, for example, have already promised to send more advanced air defense systems to Poland. The goal here is simple: deterrence. Make the cost of any future accident or test way too high for anyone to consider.
So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, this is a European problem. What's it got to do with me? Well, the reality is, when major powers get into a tense standoff like this, the ripples are felt all across the globe, and they often hit you right in the wallet.
How? Well, heightened tensions can easily lead to more aggressive economic policies.
There's already talk of hitting countries that support Russia with massive tariffs. And if that happens, it could kick off trade wars, spike inflation, and mess up supply chains around the world, affecting everything from cars to the phone in your pocket.
So what's the bottom line here? The crucial point is this. Article 4 worked exactly the way it was designed to. It acted like a political pressure release valve. It was activated not to start a war, but to stop one before it could even get going.
But that leaves us with one final pretty unsettling thought. Diplomacy worked this time. But as Russia continues to operate on a war footing and NATO continues to reinforce its front lines in response, you have to ask the question, for how long can talks alone hold the line?